Yes, hello and welcome back to All For Women's Football. No, don't adjust your sets. We have got some people you haven't seen before. Well, you have, but not this year. And we're going to see them again on the other side of this. Yes, absolutely. We are back. It's my favourite show of the year. The one where, it's always my favourite before we start. I pretty much hate it by the end of it because we've all fallen out and gone off and taken our ball home, which is what usually happens. So very much looking forward to this evening and the joy that there is. And as we said, people that we haven't seen for quite a while. We've got the big boss, Mr. Connor Roberts, has graced us with his presence. He found a space in his diary. Lovely to have you here, Connor. How are you doing, sir?
I'm trying to think of the last show I was on here. When was the last show I was on it? I've been on this year, I'm sure I have.
I think you have. I was just thinking about it. You've definitely done one show.
I've done one. I was actually trying to think of the last time me and Mia shared a screen together because I have a feeling that's got to be close to a year now. So it's been even longer there, I think, than me coming on here. But yeah, no, all good.
No, absolutely. And I was just going to say that, Mia, obviously it's been good to get you on again. Been a while since we've seen you. How are you getting on?
I am well. I'm thrilled to be back. I forgot how groovy that intro was, so I was just driving along to that. That's always nice. But yeah, I'm thrilled to be back. This is always the video topic that I struggle at every single time we do it.
I've seen it before.
Mm-hmm. So
don't worry, I'm here for you, Mia. Together we will try and defeat the arch nemesis that is Quiffman. We shall see how we get on. And of course, as I say, people that haven't been here for a while, he's not been on for a whole 2 days. It's Sean Misra. How you doing?
I was going to say, it's like I only saw you 2 days ago, Barry. This is good. And I actually pulled the curtain back here. I actually requested to be on the show because Barry sold it to me as Connor was going to be on. And I haven't seen Connor face to face. I've not seen him on video since I won the bet. So I'd like to, again, make it clear that Connor lost the bet. Brighton did finish in the top half, and he does owe me 2 pints, and I didn't see him at Wembley. So now I'd like it to make it known on a public forum that he owes me 2 pints.
Right, a reply, Connor?
Yeah, to be fair, I was the first to admit it on the All For United WSC stream that I got it wrong because I was adamant. And towards the back end of the season, I was like, I'm going to be right. I'm going to be so right here. And then all of a sudden, Brighton had some kind of surge in the last few games of the season, and it proved me wrong. So, yeah, if you can give it out and all that, I've got to be able to take it. And I was wrong. So, I'll accept defeat. And the next time I see Sean, I'm sure I'll stick to that.
There we go. 2 points coming your way, Sean. And Emily, of course, is delighted to see Mia back on the channel. One of the OGs, of course, both in the comments and with Mia as well. One of the founding fathers or mothers of this channel. So it's time. Let me tell you the rules. It's a bit like Fight Club. There's only a few rules. Rule number 1 about it, you don't talk about it. Rule number 2 is simply this: only 3 people per club. So it's too easy to sit there and go, we're just going to have all of Chelsea, all of Arsenal, all of Man United, whatever it is that your biases are. So only 3 people from any one club. But we've allowed free reign on the formation, which is always has the potential to cause a drama. The formation is often where it all goes wrong, because what basically happens is we all put our people in, have a little fight over who we want, and then we start seeing who we could shoehorn into a formation. That's generally how this tends to go, and it always happens when we get to the attackers. So I'm tempted to start there to see if we can get that out of the way, but we won't. We're going to start with the obvious spot. Everybody has picked 11 players, and it's our job to populate the 11 of the WSL. So we're going to kick off with the goalkeeper, as we so often do. Now, I've got to be honest, I feel like this has been narrowed down to 2 people. It'll be very interesting to see who everybody's gone for. So, Sean, as the guest, we will let you go first. Who have you chosen as your goalkeeper of the season?
Well, I had 4. I think there was 4 you could feasibly choose.
Who are you, Serena
And I
Wiegman?
have got no, and there was. I think Brosnan deserves a shout. Van Dompsla as well. I think really impressed with her, and Hannah Hampton. But I have gone for Fallon Tellis-Joyce. I don't think it's more because obviously the saves that she's made, but obviously who she replaced, stepping into those shoes, big shoes to fill, and she's been sensational. A well-deserved Golden Glove, and yeah, I have plumped for Fallon Tellis-Joyce in the end.
Interesting. Nice little shout outs there for the other ones. Mia, did you go quite so deep, or were you just tossing a coin between two people?
For me, it was a bit of a no-brainer. There was no one in this conversation bar Fallon for me. I think it would be an injustice for anyone else to be in it, truth be told, because she has been absolutely phenomenal. So yeah, Fallon, and only Fallon.
Well, that's 2. Is Connor going to make it 3?
Yes, of course. I think the only argument, I don't know why I'm doing this, but the only argument against Fallon, I guess you could look at the last 4 or 5 games and maybe put a case forward. Obviously, Hampton did then share the Golden Glove, and Chelsea do have the best defensive record overall. That would be the only thing. But as a goalkeeper, for me, Fallon's the best in the league. So I don't think you can argue with putting her in. And I said to you, Barry, there's going to be 4 or 5 that I think are going to be unanimous. This was one of them. As we move through some of the back line, I think we might get a couple more of those.
It was quite humorous. He was having this conversation with Connor, and he told me 2 of his names. He went, I think these 2 are absolutely certain. And I came in with 2 completely opposites. And he went, no, I can see that. I was like, only joking. I was the same as you. But it was lovely because for a moment there, he thought, bless him, he's picked someone different. But again, I went for Fallon as well. For me, it was between her and Hannah Hampton. They were obviously the 2 Golden Glove winners in the end, but I just feel that Hannah Hampton always, I feel like she's got a mistake in her quite regularly, whereas with Fallon, I feel a lot more secure as to who or how she's going to keep goal, I suppose. So, yeah, I think for me, that was the big one, and that was what we went for. So Fallon Tellis-Joyce is the first to be inducted into the All For Women's Football 11. So that was an easy one, I feel. I think now's the time that we start looking at our left back. And the left back, again, to probably ask what your formations were. I know that I've asked you in chat, but Connor, your formation is
It's pretty much what's on screen. 4-2-3-1 or 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3. It's the same thing.
Let's see if that stays. Sean?
Yeah, that formation on screen works for me.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be.
Mia?
I went for a 4-1-3-2.
So you'd be pushing one of the 6 or the 8 up?
Yes.
That's fine. Okay. So what I'm getting at here is we can look at a back 4. That's nice and easy. Nobody's going to start trying to throw wing backs at me or anything like that. So that's all good. So yeah, left back. Mia, let's give you the chance to kick off on this one. I'll be honest, this is probably the position that I found the hardest in terms of trying to find. Was it the same for you?
100%. 100. This is the one I had to leave till last because I thought I don't know. I literally don't know. I went in the end for Sandy Baltimore, just based on how I can't say I've watched an awful lot of Chelsea this season. However, I did watch the FA Cup final, and the fact that they won a league is kind of my decision with that. By all accounts, I had a read about, and everyone else likes her quite a lot. And there's a comment that's just come up there saying that she's a non-negotiable. So I think I've chosen quite well. But I can't give you any more of a reason than that, Barry, because I don't really know.
Fair enough. Connor, we'll throw it back over to you. Who's your left back?
Yeah, Baltimore's the first name. Like, not the first name on the team sheet, but she was the first one when I thought of left back straight away. She was in. She's been unbelievable at left back, and I just think I agree with Shane's comment. For me, it's not a negotiable. There's not another left back I don't think that can challenge her Sean's going to find one, but I don't think there is. I don't think anyone's been on the level of Baltimore this season. I'm even trying to think who else has even played well at left back this season. Obviously, United have had kind of Gabby George there. Gabby George has not been as good as Baltimore. McCabe for Arsenal. I don't even know who City have had because I've had so many injuries. So I'll let Sean put his argument for because he was shaking his head at me. But for me, Baltimore's got to be in. She's been unbelievable.
Very interesting. I mean, Sean, where have you gone with this one?
Don't get me wrong. This was a coin flip for me. I've really enjoyed Baltimore, but the performances of Sarah Homegaard for Everton this season have been utterly sensational. Everton have had an up and down season. I think a lot of injuries, but Homegaard's been that ever presence in that left back spot. And the way she gets forward, the way she can contribute with assists and goals, but the way she can track back and really restrict whoever's coming against her on that right side. And there's a reason Real Madrid want to sign her this summer. Like, she has had an unbelievable season. Like Baltimore, again, I think certainly one of the signs of the season, but I was really keen to get Sarah Homegaard into this team at one stage or another.
Well, I've got to be honest. I'm incredibly intrigued by these choices that you guys have made, because I didn't go for Sandy Baltimore. I did go for a Chelsea player. I didn't even think of Sandy Baltimore. She didn't really enter my head for that position, more because I feel like she's been slightly more attacking. I think Niamh Charles has been the one who was mostly out there at left back. And I'll be honest, Niamh Charles was the one that I was considering putting in there. But the more you have spoken about Sandy Baltimore potentially going there, that's the only reason why we can't do a Rachel Daly with her there and throw in at the left back, because what a side that would make it. So I think on this one, probably have to go with you. I can't see any reason not to put Sandy Baltimore in there. So unfortunately, nice shout there, Sean, but two of them had done you already. And I could have leveled it up for you, but I didn't. So I'm sorry about that. It is Sandy Baltimore who is in. Let's switch flanks and we'll let Connor go first this time. So we're going very swimmingly so far. Don't worry if you're watching this. It will get violent the more we go through. It's a bit like the Royal Rumble. It's a bit rubbish at the very beginning, but once you start getting 5 or 6 in there, doesn't it really start to catch fire? Right back position. Connor.
Just very quickly, just to follow on from what you just said, because Shane just put it in the chat about, sorry, Mia. Baltimore basically in that position she's played, in a position she's barely played. So you're right to point it out. She is more of a left winger, but she's played left back and been just exceptional at it. So yeah, I'm glad that we've got her in there. In terms of right back, is it going to be any surprise which United player I'm putting in at right back here? Because for me, she is the best right back in the league. I
can't put Ethan Mannion in at right back. I'm not having this.
I think she's been one of the best right backs in Europe. So for me, it's got to be Jade Riviere at right back. I think this is probably a choice between two, and I think Emily Fox is probably the other. So I imagine someone's going to put her forward. But yeah, it's got to be Jade Riviere for me on in at right back.
Very intrigued by that. Let's see what you think, Mia.
I actually have just realised that I think mine and Connor's backline is exactly the same. So it's going to sound like I'm copying him. However, I also went for Jade Riviere. And she's just one of those players that every time she's relentless. She's so relentless. And if she doesn't win a ball back, she's the first person to try and win that ball back. Hi, JJ. So for me, it's a no-brainer. I think she is so aggressive in that position, and you just wouldn't expect that just by looking at her, which I know is a crazy thing to say, but she just has so much depth to her game. Yeah. And 100%, that was a no-brainer for me.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, I very much went for Jade Riviere as well. It was, I don't believe that there will be people out there that will come up with a right back. I think that Jade Riviere has been probably the most important player outfield for Manchester United. and is, it'd be hard to say solely responsible, but certainly she's well up there for the reason why it is that United have finished in the top 3 this season. And I think the FA Cup final without her, it really showed just how much she was missing. So it's been very intriguing. Sean, are you going to make it a full house, or have you come up with another interesting shout?
I was going to say, I don't think it really matters who I say here. I think democracy has
all
ruled.
voices matter.
And like Connor, I was debating between Riviere and Fox. I think Fox has been so consistently good throughout the whole season. I guess the only thing you could level at Jade Riviere is the injuries. But I have plumped for Jade Riviere just because I think the improvement she's shown more than anything. She's really risen to the occasion time and time again for United. So no, I will make it a full house and I will go for Jade Riviere.
There we go. She is in. So it's all looking good so far. It's one of those.
This is too easy, Barry. What's going on?
Oh, don't worry. You know it's going to change. This is often where one of the fights start to begin. Those 3 positions, I think we rarely argue about. The left back, I think, has perennially been a problem, and there is every chance that Sandy Baltimore, sat there happy as she is right now, could end up getting ripped out. Because what starts happening is people have picked 3 for each club, but have they picked the right ones? Are we going to be giving away one of our 3 that we've picked in order to allow another one in? It all gets very NFL drafts, I've got to be honest. So we shall see. But we need to start thinking about centre-backs. So I'm going to ask you for both of your centre-backs on this occasion. So clearly you've all gone for 2 because you all went for 4 at the back. Sean, it's your turn to go first again. Which 2 centre-backs have you gone for?
I feel like the one we all have chosen, I was going to put out there, Maya Letitia is one of them.
Okay.
The other, I've gone for Natalie Bjorn because I adore what Natalie Bjorn has done. I think when you think about the Chelsea defence, I think Bright gets a lot of attention. I think Germer gets a lot of attention, but Bjorn is. Every time I watch her, she doesn't need to do it. She's always in the right place. You never see her sprint because she's just always in the right place. She can make a quick tackle. She knows where her attackers are. So I think the duo has to be, for me, Maya Letitia and Natalie Bjorn.
So you go a nice little spiel there about Natalie Bjorn, but Maya Letitia was just, I went for Maya Letitia. What is it about Maya that you think has put her in there above, some other names that might get mentioned?
I think for me, it's seeing her develop as a leader. I think that for me has been the most important, because we all know she's a good defender. And no one's going to argue for that. But to see her take the captain's armband in a team that lost so many leaders in the summer as well, she's been fantastic. And the way she's been able to rally her team, the way she's been able to lead from the back, conduct things, I think she's just been... The fact she's grown as a leader, and I think that makes her grow as a player as well, I think she has to be in.
Fair enough. Mia, we're going to give you the chance to speak before Connor, just so that we don't end up in a situation where everybody thinks you've copied Connor on this one. And I don't want that to be the thing that's levelled at you. So which 2 defenders did you go for in your central positions?
I actually went for Maya Letitia and Natalie Bjorn. They were my 2 as well. Yeah. Bjorn, completely agree with what Sean's just said. Maya Letitia, I think there's a stat, and I might be lying through my teeth here, that she's played like every domestic minute for 4 seasons or something. She's so instrumental to every team that she's ever played in. I might be lying. But yeah, I just love her. She's so gritty and so essential to that back line for United. So 100%.
I mean, she certainly started every single game in the WSL. I think that was a stat that was thrown about there for the last 4 years. So it is quite unbelievable, really. Connor, have you gone for Maya Letitia?
Maya Letitia and Natalie Bjorn. They were my 2 from the off, which is why I was nodding along. Which sure to we had the same back 4/5 we have. That's exactly what I'd have gone for. Again, purely because Bright gets all the credit at Chelsea, and rightfully so. She's been a brilliant player, but I think Bjorn has been better, in my opinion, when she's played this season. And Maya Letizia, as people know, I think she's obviously stepped up massively this season in what she's done. I think the only other shouts, I think City have not been great defensively this season. They've had a lot of injuries. Alexandria's kind of had her head elsewhere anyway. And then you've got, Greenwood's kind of been, out as well. So the obvious choice there. If Williamson had played the whole season like she played in the Champions League final, she would have a shout. But for me, she's not been great this season. She just had an exceptional game in the Champions League final. So I don't think there's any shouts there. And you're kind of then going down the league. And I don't think any other backline have been strong enough to put a centre-back forward that's better than those two. So I know this looks very Man United, Chelsea heavy at the moment. It is. It's split. That's the 3 United now. So unless one of them's coming out, no more United players in this team, which to be fair, I don't anyway. But, it's the best 2 defenses in the league, right? I think. Or did Arsenal overtake United on the last game? I can't remember. But either way, that was going to be my backfire. So I'm quite happy with that.
It's a very interesting one. So I also went for Maya Letizia. So she's got all 4 of us on that one. Arsenal did not overtake us. Chelsea had the best defence with 13. Man United 16. Arsenal actually conceded 26 goals. So it doesn't really help when it comes to the fact that I overlooked Bjorn. I did put Leah Williamson down, mainly because the people that I've chosen from Chelsea were not all necessarily defenders. So I think that's where it's going to become interesting on that one. But based on how you guys have done your formations, I think I can now see which one of my forward attacking players may need to drop from the system. So it's very helpful. I've played the game here, certainly. So that's good. I've got no dramas with that. So that's a very interesting. Honestly, you look at that as a defence. If you said to us, right, here's your starting lineup: Sandy Baltimore, Natalie Bjorn, Maya Letizia, Jay Riviere, and Fallon Tullis-Joyce, you'd feel pretty good about that, wouldn't you? Like that's a machine right there. Excellent. Well, there we go. That's the defence, and as you can see, it's been all very nice, all very good so far. But it's time for the sleeves, I think, to start rolling up. It'll be very interesting to see where we go with this one. Now, I think most of us have gone for sort of 2 players in the middle with 1 attacking, with the exception of Mia Letizia down there, who has just done the 1. So we're just going to go with the 1 for now, which is the most defensive of your midfielders that you have got, so that we can get that one locked in. So, Mia, I suppose you are going to have to go first on this one and tell us who is your single pivot.
Yeah, so I went for Yui Hasegawa, which I feel like she's one of those players who you could predict that next season she's going to be in this team as well. And the season after she's going to be in this team as well. She just is so consistent. And it is worth noting that this City team have had a lot of issues and a lot of struggles. And they've not been fantastic this season. But she is such a cog for that team. And if she's not working, nothing really works for them. So I think I wrote down here that she apparently she won the most possession back this season as well. So she's just a very, very good CDM, which is why I had put her there.
Fair enough. I mean, she was definitely, when I was looking at the City players again, she was definitely one of the ones who stood out for me as being somebody that I would go for, but I didn't pick them in the end on that one. I've got to be honest. I'm very intrigued. I think I know who Connor might have gone for. So let's see. Condog, have you scraped the barrel of the Scottish national team on this one?
Well, no. I mean, yes, who you're referring to is in my team, but you asked for, do you want both or do you want...
No, I want the one who you would consider to be the most defensive of your...
Because I could go for either, because they can both play a 6 or an 8. So, I may as well just come out as Hasegawa or Cuthbert, whoever you want. They're both in my team. So either one of those you can put in that in that deeper line.
In your team?
Pardon?
Is Cuthbert in your team?
No.
Interesting. I know, right? See, I told you. Hear that, everyone? That's the moment. It's beginning. So, yes, we'll stick with that. So, you're going Hasegawa. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, she has to be in.
Okay, so you've gone for Hasegawa. Sean, is there a Hasegawa in your team?
It's not a City player anywhere near my team. No, I don't think. Yeah, she's good, but City have been underwhelming as a whole team, and I don't think. No. So I've also got Cuthbert in there. We'll come on to that later, but I'm going to plump for Katrina Gorry. I think Gorry has been phenomenal for West Ham, even in that first part of the season when West Ham weren't exactly what they were towards the end of the season. Gorry has been so consistent and just everything you need a midfielder to be: defensive work and get up and attack, covers every blade of grass. So yeah, I'll go for Katrina Gorry.
Wow. Okay, so this is where it all starts to get very technical. Now, I have not gone for Hasegawa. I have also not gone for Gorry. So, as a result, I feel like this leaves us in a little bit of a limbo type situation. Now, Connor, you said you'd gone for Erin Cuthbert in your midfield. Sean, you say you've gone for Cuthbert as well?
Correct.
And I definitely went for Erin Cuthbert because she is my immediate go-to Chelsea person. You know, who are we having for Chelsea? Cuthbert. She's going. She's my answer to Connor's question every single time. Who would you take from the Chelsea team? That's the one who would walk directly into the United squad for me. So that's going to be 3 Cuthberts. So this, obviously, with Mia's formation, creates a little bit of an issue. So we'll now take a second person from your midfield. So again, I've gone Cuthbert. I'm going to throw out another one of my midfielders, which I feel like some of you are probably going to argue would be a little bit more further forward. But I put down, obviously, and I will be gobsmacked if this person is not on any of your lists, Mariona Caldente. So I'm going to assume that we've all picked her.
Yeah, that's my 3. That's my 3: Hasegawa, Cuthbert, and Caldente. So,
okay,
Caldente is that sort of 10 role, but in that midfield, yeah, definitely for sure.
See, I reckon mine works here because I wouldn't have Caldente there. Caldente's got to be in the 10.
I'm only typing the naming, Connor. I had the chance to move it. So you see what I mean? I'm not even starting.
Yeah, but there's a player 10 right there. I thought you were going to start typing her in at player 10. No, but I think she's in all of our teams, but she's just been. To me, I don't know what I expected. I knew she was a good player, but I didn't expect her to be as good as she has been. I don't know. Maybe I just don't watch enough of the whatever league. But to me, she's got to be in. And I mean, if Erin Cuthbert's not in this team, this is not a best WSL 11. So I think she's got to be in because Chelsea win, obviously, the treble unbeaten. And she is a big reason for that. The only other midfielder I had as like an outsider, here you go, Emily, you'll like this, is Marie. How do you say her surname? Is it Hobbinger or Herbinger? However you say her name, her from Liverpool.
I think it's Herbinger. Yeah.
Herbinger. So she would be the outside shout for me. If you're looking outside of the top 4, she's one. I think she's unbelievable. It's just a shame she plays for Liverpool, but she would be my kind of outside shout if you're looking for someone just a little bit different. Outside of like the big names that we know are going to be mentioned in this.
Okay, so I find this is very interesting. Again, like I say, I've only picked 2 midfielders. I've gone for sort of a 4-2-2-2. So I've got the 2 in the middle, 2 wide, and 2 up top. But again, all becomes clearer. I think once we actually discuss what's going on at the end there. So Connor's done his 3. He said Cuthbert, Hasegawa, Caldente. Mia, you'd only picked 2. Have we asked who your second one was?
Yeah, so mine's in a funny. I don't know how you'd classify mine because I have Hasegawa as a CDM, and then I have a row of 3, and then 2 strikers. So Caldente is obviously my attacking midfielder in that, so she would sit higher. And then I've called them wingers, but they're probably more midfielders. So I actually have two more midfielders. Does that make sense?
It does make sense to me. I understand what you're trying to do there. Sean, have you got yours so far? Were Hasegawa, Gori, and Caldente. Is that right?
Cuthbert, Caldente, Gori
Sorry.
is my read.
Correct. Okay, Cuthbert, Gori. Good. Okay, so I'm just going to leave those two on there for now. And let's be honest, I mean, I could really, really play with Connor here and just like throw her down there. Oh, what's she doing there? But I won't because he'll cry. But what we will do is start thinking about some of these wider players because often it does come down to that 10. So it'll be very interesting to see what we've done on the left and what we've done on the right. I have picked people to go on the right and the left, obviously. I'll be very intrigued to see who you've gone for on the left. So, Sean, you can kick us off on this one. Who would be your left flank?
This is the one I struggled with, as I don't really think there's been a real true standout left winger. So in the end, I have changed it last minute. I've gone with a player who I really didn't rate going into this season, but I've seen her really do a lot of good things and has often been quite the outlet for a team, has dragged them out of trouble sometimes. So I've actually gone with Caitlin Ford as my left winger.
Okay.
Because I've seen a side to her which I didn't think she had. And she's been brilliant for us. And maybe doesn't get appreciated as much as the big names that maybe one or two we'll talk about now. But yeah, no, I'll go Caitlin Ford, left winger.
Very interesting. It's not who I've gone for on the left wing, so it'll be interesting to see what other people have done. Mia, you mentioned you had a sort of a left-sided midfielder, so who have you gone for there?
I have actually gone for Vivian Asseyi from West Ham. And I have a big fact file full of her achievements of this season. So I don't know if
you rank higher than this.
I don't know if you want me to rule them off now or when I'm inevitably fighting for her.
I think it's your top three, and then you can save some in reserve for the I feel argument that we're all about to ensue and have. So yeah, but what's your main reasoning?
So I actually, when I was looking for players, I know she's great. Obviously, I'm a West Ham fan. Some people think that's shocking. And I know she's fantastic and I know her ability, but I didn't realise that actually she this season ranks, she was top. She ranks first with Turland for goals and assists this season. So she scored 9 goals and made 6 assists this season for a West Ham team who, let's not forget, last season scored 20 goals across the whole campaign. That was the lowest in the league, next to Bristol City. This isn't a high-scoring West Ham team, and for her to put up those kind of statistics is incredible. And I think she's criminally underrated. She plays anywhere else, she gets the plaudits for it.
No, I absolutely agree. She was one of the names who I considered for my left side. So very interesting. We've got 2 different shouts at the moment. Connor, who would you be going for?
You're going to get another different shout now as well. Although I might be slightly swayed on the Asseyi argument. I don't know whether this is a rogue one or not. I actually went for Mary Fowler because, again, not a player I've rated really in the past. She's kind of been a bit hit and miss. I don't think she's been exceptional when I've watched her in the past. But I think, again, as Sean has already mentioned, this City team has not been good this season. It's been very underwhelming, but she has been good, in my opinion. 13 goals and assists combined, so she's right up there, right behind Turner and Asseyi anyway. So you're only talking 1 or 2 difference when you're looking at the players on the left. So I would probably say her, but I think it was Sean that said it. We've not been blessed with left wingers this season. There's not like usually Gura Wrighton's in this argument, but obviously she's missed a lot of the season. Then she was kind of on the bench and she's kind of not really played as much. So you can't put her in this debate really because she's just not played. Hemp again would be another one that's kind of in this conversation. I don't know. I'm sure she finishes still the top assist, even though she missed like most of the season. Yeah, there we go. But again, goals, and she's missed most of the season. I don't feel comfortable putting players in that have missed most of the season, so she wouldn't be my shout. So yeah, I think Mary Fowler's a fair shout, but I can see the argument for the others.
She was an interesting one for me because I kind of felt like, I mean, City did finish fourth, so I couldn't come out with a sweeping statement along the lines of Sean there of just there's not one near my squad, just purely because there have been some, I think, good, certainly statistically good players, and of course you're looking there at Shaw and Hemp because they are the two that have, Shaw was joint golden boot, and Hemp of course has won, as we say, the top assists in the WSL this season. So I did actually go for Lauren Hemp. I think it's for the same sort of reasons as you guys have just said. Nobody's really stood out. I think that whole left side really has been an interesting one. But I don't know. Is there going to be an argument here? Are we going to end up sticking Sandy Baltimore back up there in the left wing slot? Or we all just sit there and try and think of somebody else who can go left back? I don't know. But what I do know is that, West Ham, City, we can put another Arsenal player in still because unbelievably, we've got 7 names down. Only one of them is a European champion, which is entertaining thus far, that's for sure. I think she's nailed on to get at least one more, so don't get too upset just yet. And yes, that's what I mean. She's only played 10 games, but look at what she's done. I think it was a tricky one there. So this one I think is going to be difficult. I am not against being swayed there by Mia's argument on Asai. I think this looks like it's going to be a position where we're just going to have to wait and see what happens in the other ones. So with that in mind, let's switch over to the right-hand side. And I shall go first on this one, which I think Emily Moxham is going to really enjoy the person that I chose to put on the right wing. And I feel like this is the only correct answer if you can't choose Celine Bizet because you've already put 3 Manchester United players in there. And that is someone who I would love to see playing for Man United, and that is Olivia Smith. So that's who I went for on the right-hand side. Condog, who have you put on your right-hand side?
Yeah, you said it right. It's the only correct answer. like stats don't do her justice this season because when you look at her numbers, like she's not the top scorer, she's not the top assister, but as a player, my God, she's going to get, sorry, Emily, you're not going to like this. She's going to get a massive move in the next 12 months and she will tear up the Champions League because she is that good. So yeah, I hate praising Liverpool players really, but you got to do it because she is that good. And she's still only 21 or something. Like, yeah, she's unbelievable. And the amount of fouls she picks up, I don't know whether it's a good or bad thing, but she gets battered a lot. Just because of how quick she is. You think back, Mary, to the goal that United conceded against Liverpool at Anfield. Her pace on the right, it's almost like she's happy to knock it 20 yards in front of her because she's going to get there anyway. So she was the top of the most fouled list by quite some margin as well. Or she was, or was did Asai overtake her in the end? There we go then. It was between those two, I know that, because Jade Riviere was about 4th. But yeah, she got fouled so much. And I think Matt Beard actually came out and said that she needed protecting. He actually came out and said that in one of his interviews or something like that. But yeah, she's an exceptional footballer. And for me, yeah, if you're not going to choose Bizet, it's got to be her. On that. Again, not really blessed for wingers, this season and in the WSL. It's mainly the other kind of position, midfield and striker, really.
I think it's because we have seen a fair bit of full-backery this season in terms of getting them down the wings quite regularly. Sean, have you gone for the same? I mean, I'll be amazed if you haven't put Olivia Smith in your top 11 because you've spoken about her most weeks when you've been on the show.
As much as I would like to see Nikita Paris in this spot, who I think made such an impact at Brighton, Smith's the only answer, I feel. It's just, electric. Just sometimes you watch play and you watch someone run and then just find you get on the edge of your seat a bit and there's that anticipation something special is about to happen. She's got that it factor about her. So, yeah, has to be Olivia Smith for me.
Her name's already down there, Mia. You're going to have to come up with a godlike name here to make everybody go, oh my God, how do we not even think about this person? So, yeah, have you gone for Olivia Smith as well?
No, I haven't. And this is me trying to be a little bit controversial, but also I can back this up a bit. This
Well,
isn't a
wish you
name.
very best of luck.
Yeah, I think I've lost, but I went for Writing Canarid, and I went for her because she has won the league, and I was a little bit scared that I didn't have enough Chelsea players in my team, but also she's been quietly very good. First in progressive carries, first in carries into the penalty area, first in recorded progressive passes. Like, she's a very forward thinking person, and that's exactly why I put her in the team. But listen, I'm not going to argue with Olivia Smith at all. I think she's been sensational. But I did just want to put a Chelsea attacker in the team because I think it was necessary.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because we were going to put Written Canarid in. We would have to remove one of either Baltimore Bjorn or Cuthbert, or as they shall now be known, the BBC, which is, of course, as impartial as we can get. So, in that respect, we have to, would you be able to remove one of those in order to fit her in, or would you rather those three stayed in?
I mean, I didn't have Erin Cuthbert down, so I didn't have the three, and I'm happy with how it looks at the minute. So as I say, I'm happy with Olivia Smith being there and Cuthbert being there. So we're all good.
Okay. This is good. So far, Mia's not felt like she's had to have a massive argument about people she wants to have in. Connor's not got really upset with her and made her, really, really sad. And Sean's only mentioned the fact that Connor owes him 2 points once. So it's going really well. And I don't know if that says more about the league, or about us, or what. I don't know. But we have done 2, 4, 6, 8 positions. There are 3 to fill. Let's go with one that I think is likely, I feel, to be a similar sort of answer. I'm very intrigued as to who you've put as the focal point for your attack. I felt, again, only one answer for this one, but I'm going to let you guys see if you've agreed with what I've put. Connor's smiling and nodding at me. I'm really intrigued to know what he's put. But I'm going to ask Mia first, I think, because her front line so far has absolutely blown my mind. And I want to hear her say Rachel Williams or something like that. I can't wait to hear who she's got up top.
Oh, I love Rachel Williams. So I have 2 strikers, but I'm gonna go for the one that I think you're talking about. And I've put down Alessia Russo. Is that what you was hinting at? Have I caught the?
I mean, that's who I've gone for. Yes, I think this has been her season, really, to sort of break out from the glass ceiling that she was under. So, yeah. But tell me more about why you chose her.
Yeah, for the same reasons. She's just really. She kind of looks like a new player. She's playing with a newfound confidence, and just from an England perspective, that's going to be really exciting going into a Euros, knowing that she's come off the back of a season where I think she was top scorer, joint top scorer. She just looks like she's really enjoying playing football, and players do well when they play like that. So, yeah, sensational. Very
good. Sean, did you go for Alessia Russo, or have you gone elsewhere? Because I'm intrigued. I think there is another name that could get thrown up in this conversation. I'll be really intrigued to see who you've gone for. So who is yours?
You know what? I thought I was nailed on, and then I did a bit in the last 15 minutes. I had to flick through some stuff, and I know I said I didn't have any City players in.
He's gonna go bunny.
But to have played 14 games and scored the same number as Alessia Russo, who played 21 games, it's scary to think what Bunny Shaw could have done if she did carry on playing. And I still don't think there's a striker like Bunny Shaw in this league. And even though she's been injured, I still think she's the best striker in this league. So I'm going to plump for Bunny Shaw up front because I think, Russo has been good. I think it has been a bit of a breakout season, but she's had gaps where she hasn't scored. I mean, really good sort of before Christmas. After that's a bit flaky, but you just think, what would Bunny Shaw have done in a full season? To score the same number as Russo in almost half the games is scary. I think she could have
It's
easily got
scary.
over 20. So I'm gonna go for Bunny Shaw.
Okay, and Connell, I assume you're going to go for Sam Kerr just because, you know, we all know how dangerous she could be had she played. Is that what you were going for?
No, I mean, I went for Russo initially, but Sean's kind of selling me. I mean, if you're going on who's the best striker in the league, it's Bunny Shaw. It's not even a debate. She is. But if you're going off this season, again, I don't like picking. For me, if you're going to be in a team of the season, you've got to play about 18 games, like 17 plus for me. Like, so what's that? Like 80% of the game, Bunny Shaw hasn't. However, I can see Sean's argument that she's still the joint top scorer. She's had so many injuries this season as well, which, you know, I agree. I think if she plays the full season, she's on 20 plus again. So I think there's an argument there. The only other shouts, again, like I'm trying to think of players outside of the top four bubble, if you want to call it that. Mia will like this. The two West Ham players, Martinez and Ueki, I think have got a fair shout of being up there as, you know, kind of if you're doing an honourable mention for a striker, they were also in my thinking. But again, Martinez only played half the season at West Ham and she's on 10 goals. Granted, a lot of those were against Palace, but you know, she's up there in the conversation as well. But I would go for Russo purely because she's played the whole season. And I agree. I think it's probably been, well, it has been her best season. You know, in terms of scoring, assisting, just off the ball, what she's done for Arsenal. So yeah, for me, it'd be her.
It's interesting. I mean, Emily's come up with an interesting point. It's got a team of the season, not team of the overall, which I think is fair. And she does say there that Russo is for her on that one. I mean, it's interesting because on the one hand, when we were talking about that, and this is why I didn't write me in the left-sided one, because I mentioned Lauren Hemp, and everyone was like, "Oh, but Lauren Hemp hasn't played all that many games this season. She hasn't done the whole season." So if she hasn't done the whole season, and we're not going to pick Hemp, you can't then turn around and go, "Well, but we are going to have Shaw."
It depends what your criteria is, because Shaw played 14, Hemp played 10. So Hemp has played less than half. So I don't think she can be a viable thing, whereas Shaw technically has played over half, only slightly though. So it depends what your limit is in terms of how many of you think someone has to play.
I didn't have a limit. That's why I went Hemp. So, but it's clear to me now. I mean, Mia and I both went for a second striker. So now, Mia, who's your second striker?
Do you know what? Every single time we do these shows, new clauses and criteria added on the bloody spot. So this,
one rule, I said, one rule, and look what happens.
This, I went for Shakira Martinez because I'm not being funny. When we bought her in the summer, she was just a kid, a nobody kid. She got loaned out to Freiburg. She scored 5 goals in 11 games, 2 assists. Got called back in January. Hit the ground running. I think she played 12 games in total in the end. Scored 10 goals. Like, she is literally... this is having never stepped foot in the WSL before. She's almost scoring a goal a game. And I know that's not how it went, but on average, for a 23-year-old who has no experience of football like the WSL, which is the top league in the world, I understand what we're saying about game time and how she probably hasn't played enough games. But I think, my goodness, if she has a full season next year, she's going to be an absolute monster. And the fact that big clubs are already sniffing around her, having played a handful of games, it just says it all for me.
It's a very interesting point. And you throw that one out there. If you're going to throw Martinez out there, then it's not unfair to shout out Her Majesty, Queen Elizabeth III, also known as Elizabeth Turlands, people that don't go on the All For United WFC channel. She's obviously scored 10, but that wasn't who I went for my second striker. And if you remember way back when we were talking about the defenders and we put in Baltimore, Bjorn and Cuthbert, I said, well, I can kind of see where this is going to go and if I'm going to have to lose someone. And this was the person that I thought, because Shane's put her down as an honourable mention. She's been mentioned a few times, But the reason why I went for a 4-2-2-2 was because actually I thought, if you're going to stick Russo up there, why not stick Aggie Beaver Jones up? And it was, again, because did we really have enough in terms of the wing power and everything else that's been going on? Was it the right thing to do? So had it been me, just so that the world can see what I was trying to do, I would have had Cuthbert sort of here with Caldente potentially sort of there. And then, of course, you've got your two strikers and these people just sort of here. And then you get the license. Cuthbert can obviously do what she does, look after this lot back here. And she's got the ability to move into that space should they need to. I'll grant you it's very Gerard Lampard back in the day trying to get the two playing together, but I feel like it could work. So I think that's where we are. Those are the three players that we're looking at. So nobody's arguing with Caldente. Everybody's happy. The question really is, are we putting her up there? In which case, if we do, are we having another player come in and join Cuthbert, i.e. someone like Hasegawa, or are we going to go a bit different? But those are the three spots we need to do. Either way, it's a left-sided midfielder. It's is it Leslie Russo? Which it seems to be. She has been the one that's been mostly named, but Bunny Shaw is obviously there as well. And then it's what do we do with that number 10? So instincts. What would you do in the situation we are in, Sean Misra? Who would be in those three spots? Where would you put them?
I know everyone has said Russo, and don't get me wrong, she had a good season, but just some things. Half of her goals this season have come against Aston Villa and Crystal Palace. 6 of those 12 have come against Crystal Palace and Aston Villa, who should have finished 11th. How they finished 6th, I will never know. That's just
who was Shaw's
work.
against?
Everyone.
Everyone?
And Russo, no goals against us. No goals against Chelsea. No goals against Man United. No goals against Manchester City. Like, she's had a good season, but like, you know what I mean? Like, where has she been in the big games? Dare I say non-existent? She hasn't even got an assist against those big three teams. Like, you can be a tapping merchant against the likes of Crystal Palace. That's fine, but
I suppose if I was an Arsenal fan, Sean, I would say, where was she? Lisbon. And that would, I think, probably be a fell swoop argument. She may not necessarily have scored the goal that did anything, but she certainly scored a fair few within that. And I know it's the WSL team of the year, so it's tricky to include those sort of things, but it's not an unreasonable point that she would be there. I don't know. Connor, Mia, would you go along with Sean's pleading there that Leslie Russo can only do it against the lower teams and that she's not? Because to be fair, Connor, we've said this on channels before, you know, that she doesn't seem like she'll be a player that makes it into double figures. She has this season. She's made it on with 12, which is, you know, incredible for her. But Sean's got a reasonable point there. If it's not against the big teams.
To be honest, the amount of grief I'm getting off Arsenal fans on Twitter at the moment, I'm all for taking Russo out of the team. Screw it, take Caldente out as well. They've had a crap season. So get all the Arsenal players out, stick all the Man United and Chelsea ones in, because why not? Sorry, I've literally just looked at my phone and yeah, I won't repeat some of what I've been called in the last half an hour, but we'll go with that. Anyway, on a serious note, no, I think Russo has definitely... I think she's been important to Arsenal this year. It depends. This is where it gets a bit difficult, because are you including what she's done in the Champions League and wider tournaments, or are we just looking at what she's done in the WSL? Because if it's just WSL, Sean's kind of got a point. As a season for Arsenal, she's been very important in Champions League and in other things as well. So I think it depends what your criteria is in terms of, are you widening this out, or is it purely what they've done in the league?
Well, the title of this video, and I'll repeat it, is WSL Team of the Season. I don't think we can get clearer than that. there, and I didn't make the title. It was one of the powers that be of this channel that made the title. It says WSL Team of the Season.
But
So,
can you
I
put
guess it'd be
Shaw
some-
in for only playing 4? I know she's been exceptional when she's played, but for me, I just don't feel right putting a player who's not played at least 17 or 18. I think you've got to play that many for me to get in a Team of the Season. Because there's not all that many games in the WSL. So if you're missing, I mean, she missed 8 out of 22. That is a lot. So
Yeah,
I know
she
she's done a
still
lot
won
when
the
she's played.
Golden Boots.
I know
She's still won
I
the
know your
Golden
point, but this is just a me thing of not putting players in that have not featured. I mean, are we? Is it between those two? Is Turler not getting a look in here? Is it purely Shaw and?
Well, we
Russo?
can't. Well, I'll ask you the question, Connor, and Mia, you can jump in as well. If we were to put Elizabeth Turland in up there, which is again a reasonable shout, no reason why you can't argue with that. If it's a WSL one, as we said, who's coming out? Riviere, Letitia, or Fallon?
Oh yeah, no, I completely forgot about
You
that.
can't
actually.
take any of them out.
No,
That's the
I
thing.
wouldn't. No, I wouldn't.
So
But-
for that's the only reason why I've said nothing about her, because
No, that's fair enough. I forgot about my own rule then. But no, I would stick with Russo and have Hasegawa in the midfield. Would be mine, because I just I don't feel again comfortable leaving, for me, arguably one of the best midfielders in the league out of a team. Like Hasegawa is that. So I would have Russo and Hasegawa and drop one of your strikers down. Because I don't know. That would be mine anyway. And I don't think I've not been swayed enough. Unless you could find another left winger and put a say up front and then do it that way. I don't know. But that's where I'm at.
The Aggie Beaver Jones shout doesn't work. I mean, again,
She's been good, but not. She's kind of on the fringes to me. She's not
exactly.
like.
And for me, Mia, the same thing. We were talking about dropping a Chelsea player potentially for you to be able to put JRK in. But it's the same argument here, isn't it? Aggie Beaver Jones has had a good season, but can we really drop Sandy Baltimore, Natalie Bjorn, Erin Cuthbert? The defensive side of Chelsea's game was definitely the best part of their game. That's why they had the best defence in the league. It would be foolish, maybe, to take one of those three out just to fit Aggie Beaver Jones in.
I also don't think there's a chance in hell. As much as she's been good, there is no way Aggie Beaver Jones should be on the Team of the Season. Absolutely not. There is no way. And I'd also just like to quickly back Russo a bit further. The fact that she is not just she does not just score goals. And as much as there was a patch where she wasn't scoring goals, she's also such a physical presence in the front line, that she's such a good person that can hold the ball off, spring it wide. Even if she's not getting the assists, she is involved heavily in the build-up play. And that for Arsenal has been just undeniable. And I know a striker's a striker, but she's still got the golden boot. So she's doing stuff alongside scoring goals. And
She's only got 2 assists.
this
Shaw's
is what I'm
one.
saying. It's not necessarily
Shaw's one.
she's not saying that I'm not saying that she's sliding a ball through for someone else to get on top of, but she's holding the ball, spreading it wide, and then the ball goes over. It's not a direct, but she impacts the play more than I think anyone can. The stats don't show stuff like that. And I think her physical presence makes her almost undroppable for
You
me.
can say the same thing about Shaw, though. Shaw does things that no other striker in this league can do, and is holding onto the ball, finding pockets, her range of finishing as well. I mean, the amount of finishes we've seen in just 14 games, it's remarkable. And half of Russo's goals have come against bottom of the table Crystal Palace.
Yeah, but if you're pulling
you
that,
could score a hat trick against Crystal Palace, for God's sake.
if you're pulling
They're
that
a nobody
excuse,
team.
Shakira Martinez scored 2 against Chelsea and 1 against Arsenal. We can't use that as
She
an
scored
excuse.
4 against Crystal Palace.
But we can't. But
7 against Crystal Palace. When do
We
you
can't
expect
use that as an
7
excuse for
against
those
a nobody team like Crystal Palace?
Is this where we're going too stat heavy though? Because again, I agree with Mia. Russo's overall game, she's getting like the pre-assist. She's getting the one that's not going to be recorded as an assist or a goal because she's involved more overall. Yes, Shane, we did know this was coming. She's involved more.
I'll tell you what happens every year.
It depends whether if you're going off purely off stats, and I think Sean's got a point. But I look further than the stat, which is why I want Hasegawa in the team because again, stats she doesn't score, she doesn't assist, but what she does for City is much more important than any stat metric you can pull out at me. it's why those kind of players go under the radar a little bit. But if you're talking out and out strikers, Brusso's not even on Shaw's level. So I agree with that, but she's had a better season overall for me.
A point that we've not yet made, because I sat there and said we could have two strikers in Aggie Beaver-Jones and Leslie Russo. Is there an argument that actually we could put Leslie on here with Bunny here, and we just go back to Barry's 4-2-2-2 idea, and then actually that keeps Sean happy because we've got the amazing Bunny Shaw in there. It keeps everybody else happy because Leslie Russo's in there. Then all we got to do is come up with somebody from the left-hand side, which very well could be a Say, because she seems to be the one who got the biggest.
I just think with Bunny Shaw, if we have her in, if she'd have kept fit for the season, we could have had a better understanding of what she'd have done for the whole season. And as much as the bottom line is, City have finished 4th without her, and I know that's an important that shows her importance, but she wasn't there. She hasn't impacted because she wasn't there. The first part of the season, fine, but it's not half. This isn't the half season review. This is the full season. That's why I don't not rate her as a striker. My goodness, I completely agree. She's the best of the best, but she's not been about. She's missed it all.
Is nobody looking at that and going, oh?
Yeah, when Bunny Shaw's fit.
Interesting.
It still looks far too light. It looks far too light in the midfield. I'd be uncomfortable having a midfield 2 of Cuthbert and Caldente as team of the season. I'll just state that for the record.
Okay, so now that we've done that, Sean, because you've fallen into my trap, because by me putting that out there for you to see it, you're like, oh no, I'm not happy with that as a midfield, which means if we're going to do that, she's got to go. So which one of these two?
I would concede you bring Russo back and change Russo's name to Hasegawa, and then I'm happy. I'm also happy with Asai as left winger. That was my other option. That's fine. So you drop Russo down, change that name to Hasegawa, and I'm okay with that.
Interesting. Can I be clear? Are we all saying that we're going to drop one of those two strikers down for Hasegawa? Is that?
I think you're going to have. The thing is with Bunny Shaw, the argument that's like me throwing Gura Wrighton in. Gura Wrighton's played 17 games, scored 8. So if you're going off that, you could argue for her off the left. Like, I just don't think. I'm standing by my point. I don't think she's played enough. Like, because otherwise you could put Hemp in there. Hemp's top assist. So
that's what I said.
But Mia said City finished 4th. Like, I know I'm going for Hasegawa, and this kind of defeats my argument of City finishing 4, but City would be like 7th without her in the midfield. So I'm not having that. So I don't know. I think I'm happy with the say off the left. Actually, I think that's.
To be fair though, it's not just about where you finish, is it? Because you're all sitting there saying, "Well, we can't bring Bunny Shaw in because they finished 4th, but we're going to stick a left midfielder in from West Ham who finished 9th."
But it's expectation, isn't it? City were expected to win the league. West Ham,
I don't think West Ham were expected to finish 9th. Really, that's and I think a good player is a good player, and in that one, I will stand up for Sean on that one. If they are good, then it's very difficult to argue otherwise.
What do the chat think? Because what are we? Are we literally just debating that the two strikers, like you said, whether they're dropping down?
Well, I think that's what it seems to be. I could not say that I am that invested in sticking Lauren Hemp on the left-hand side that I could go down the rabbit hole that Sean's gone down with Bunny Shaw.
Again, to continue further down said rabbit hole, I brought up the fact that half came against Crystal Palace and Villa. Add another 2 against Tottenham. 3/4 of her goals have come against Palace, Tottenham,
I'm going to get Bunny Shaw's ones up here.
They've won the games. They've won those games, which gets them points, which makes them finish 2nd.
We could score. We could play up front against Tottenham. We could score hat-tricks each.
No.
Non-existent, the Tottenham defence.
Right, so Russo scored against United. That's been put in there. The 1-1 draw. Russo got the goal.
No, my eyes did deceive me. That's fine.
Bunny Shaw scored
against Man United.
Bunny Shaw scored against Leicester, 3 against Spurs, the team you just mentioned, 1 against Palace, 2 against Liverpool, 1 against Brighton, scored against Barca, by the way, 2 against Liverpool.
Brighton, best team in the world, by the way, just in case you didn't know. So that counts as double for me.
But so, I mean,
That's
they're kind
also
of
a
similar.
side that was beaten with Leslie Russo in, though. So,
You want the striker to score goals. Like the other argument of that is, does she not score against those teams? Like, of course she scores against those teams. She's a striker. She has to. If she doesn't, then of course she's not going to be in this conversation. I don't know how we're even considering getting rid of Alessia Russo, given she's literally played the whole bloody season.
Sean's room's getting darker and darker as well.
tell me, man. I was thinking this.
My
It's
heart
like
at the minute. It's getting darker. Like, I know she's been good, but if Shaw even played another 3 games, even 2, if Shaw played another 2, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
She
It would
did
be
it.
Shaw hands down. But this is what I'm saying. It would only take 2 games.
But
Russo
she
has had
did.
all season,
be
and
fair,
she still
Sean.
couldn't do it.
She
To be
didn't.
fair,
She wasn't there.
We've had this conversation with Connor many times before, and we can't be picking. I can't believe I'm going to say something now that Connor would usually say. It's not the team of potential; it's the team of what actually happened, and that was why I
Hempin
jokingly
is your
said.
left wing, Barry.
That's why I jokingly said to Connor, "Let's just put Sam Kerr in," because we all know how capable she is of being the top scorer. Because she has been the last few times she's done it. So. Yeah, you have to go with what you've got. I have no problem agreeing with you, Sean, in that had she played probably even 1 more game, she'd have had more goals than Leslie Russo. But in the immortal words of Gino De Campo, if my grandmother had wheels, she'd be a bike. And she isn't. So it's one of those, isn't it? It's like we can do the ifs as much as we like, but it doesn't change the fact that she didn't.
I think you're all wrong. But if this is the way you want to go, fine, you can live with yourself.
Something that was said on Monday's All For United WFC show that has stuck with me. If everyone else is saying something and you think you're right, you're wrong. So if everyone else tells you otherwise, it's.
I would just like to say, Sean, I feel I've been a gentleman of a host here today. Connor is usually much more stringent about these sort of things. I've allowed your opinion to be aired and given opportunities for the other 2 people on the panel to change their mind. I'm not that invested, believe it or not, as to whether or not it is a Manchester City or an Arsenal player who makes it in the WSL team of the season. The key words here for me, I do not have a dog in this fight at all. It's literally just a case of, are we going to go for the player who we know is better, which is Bunny Shaw? I don't think any of us are sitting there and saying that Bunny Shaw is not a better overall player than Leslie Russo and more likely to be the one that you would want to be leading your line, or the player that did complete the entire season is a European champion.
You've got to do it off the season, haven't you? Because otherwise, like Natalie Bjorn is not a better defender than Millie Bright, but this season she's in my team because she has been to me, she's just been. But I know what someone was saying earlier on about Bright's leadership and the rest of it. So that's why I'm basing it off this. I'm not saying Shaw's a better player than Russo. She isn't. But this season, I think you've got to give the credit there, which is why Bjorn was in my team and the rest of it. I don't necessarily think they're better players. Like Asai's not better than Gura Wrighton, but this season she has been. So in that sense, it's like that's how I'm viewing it anyway. So it's like. I can see Sean's point, but I just can't. And Barry, you said you've got no dog in this fight. What do you want? Is that team on screen? Is that what you're after?
No, I wanted a 4-2-2-2, but Sean shot himself in the foot when he had the opportunity to have both Bunny Shaw and Alessia Russo in there by going, that midfield looks a little bit light. I wouldn't be comfortable with that.
I mean, it is, to be fair.
Listen, again, I'm not arguing. Listen, the 3 players that I wanted to get into this team are sat there in this team. I have no problems. As long as I came into here today going, as long as I get Jade Riviere, May Letitia, and Fallon Tallis-Joyce in this team, all is well. And that's where we are. So I'm very happy with that. Do I particularly think that Natalie Bjorn is a better defender than Millie Bright or any of those sorts of things as we said? Not particularly. Do I have enough in me to sit here and have an argument about it? No, I don't. When you start looking at left back, Sandy Baltimore, again, it didn't really bother me because we were all saying it was one of the whole left side has been an incredibly hard one to fill. I wanted Erin Cuthbert in the side, and she's there. I wanted Caldente in the side, and she's there. I wanted Olivia Smith in there, and she's there. Again, left midfielder, Lauren Hemp. Do I feel like I need to argue that? I can't, because I can see how much you're all having a go at Sean for Bunny Shaw. I don't particularly want that level of an argument with you over a Lauren Hemp that I don't really care about in terms of whether or not she's the left midfielder. I think, as I said to Mia, I looked at Asai, and she was one of the ones who was on my shortlist to put in there. So I'm not that depressed and having an argument about it. I will say I was stuck between Russo, Shaw, and Aggie Beaver-Jones. And that was part of the reason why I went for the 4-2-2-2, because there was two things going through my mind there, which is you want them to be the best players on an overall 11 there, and it's not real. So this team isn't actually going to go out and play anyone. So you're allowed to be light on the midfield because, like, frankly, who's ever going to prove you wrong on that one? And actually what you're really doing there is just splitting your team equally into a 5 and a 5, because Cuthbert comes in, looks after the back four. Caldente helps out and supports, but can also go up. And to be fair, Asai and Smith have got the pace to be able to get back and help out to support their wing backs as well. So I think every way you look at them, you know, it's all just about tactics. And that was why, personally, if it was me, I would have the players that we currently have on that pitch, and we just move Caldente down a little bit. Now, I don't know if there is another way in which you could play this. If you're having sort of Erin Cuthbert here, and maybe you bring, you know, Caldente back a little bit further here, and maybe Smith just pops in there and Asai in there, so they're not quite as forward. Maybe Leslie just drops a little bit deeper, and then all of a sudden it clears up some of the spaces that you've had. You can do that sort of thing. But for me, it really, what it comes down to is for you three. I'm happy to go either way. Personally, that would be my team. But I suppose if you are forcing my hand and saying, no, we're only going to have one focal point, personally, the one that I chose was Leslie Russo.
I'm just thinking about that midfield with two very attacking fullbacks as well in Jade Riviere and Sandy Baltimore, with basically only one defensive-minded midfielder. That's going to get run through like anything. In this hypothetical game that we're playing.
With, though? City play with one defensive-minded midfield and rest as attack. We could just finish fourth in the WSL.
But their wingers track back. Asai and Olivia Smith are not going to be tracking back. So, yeah, I don't know.
The more I think about it, the more I think just put Cuthbert and Caldente into a midfield and just stick with that.
To be fair, haven't Arsenal done that this season with... I don't know, I've not watched Arsenal enough, I don't think, but haven't they played Little and Caldente as almost like a 2? Or Marnham and...
Yeah, and then Marnham goes off.
Yeah. So...
You know what? I think the 4-2-2-2, Barry, you might be onto something.
See, he's working it out now, and now he's just when I thought I was out, he's pulling me back in. Now all of a sudden, I feel a little bit of a spark for an argument. So that's where the two of us are going. So now it comes, and this is why, because you two were the only people that went for Hasegawa. So Connor and me, you chose Hasegawa. We didn't. Sean tried to go for Gori, and I have got the two midfielders in that I wanted. I never had another midfielder. It was never an argument for me. Sean's just gone to put the light on. I think there you go. It's only so long you can sit in the dark, which is all good. And yes, Arsenal do play Mariona Little, and I did consider putting Kim Little in there as well. I didn't. So there we go. So now it comes down to you two. How invested are you in having Hasegawa there? How important is taking Shaw out and putting Hasegawa in to your overall team? And I will just say to you again, Connor, it's not real. Nobody's actually going to play against this team, but we'll see. Mia, you've been quiet for a bit. Where would you go with it?
I mean, I didn't have Cuthbert. I didn't have Cuthbert down. So where Cuthbert is now, I had Hasegawa. And I'm not mad at how that looks, but I would absolutely have Hasegawa over Bunny Shaw in the team. Because out of all of the City players, that's the player to me from City from day one to day dot. Is that what I don't know. Hasegawa has been there, right? She's played the whole season. She's played very well this season. And my goodness, as Connor said earlier, what City would be without her isn't worth thinking about. So impact alone, contribution alone for the full season, I would personally go. The best player on that City team for me this season is Hasegawa, which makes it a little bit of an injustice that Bunny Shaw is there and she isn't.
Sean, would you swap Shaw for Gorry?
Shaw for Gorry? Oh,
Well, you said you wanted Katrina Gorry.
No,
so
I know. Gorry's lost it. Going back to Mia's point, though, Hasegawa's played a full season and City have been up and down. When Shaw was playing for Man City, they were winning. When Shaw doesn't play for Man City, they don't win.
So she wasn't there.
Simple argument there. That Shaw
wasn't there to play. This is the thing. She wasn't there. So we can't say that she would have done really well for him because she hasn't.
They were winning when she was there.
But that was half the season.
I mean?
This was a half season team, like mid-season team of the season. Fine. She's missed loads.
Honestly, I did not think it was going to be Sean that would get the high pitch out of me, but it's happening.
You've got to ask the question: who's had the bigger impact on City this season, Hasegawa or Shaw? It's Hasegawa.
Sure.
It's not though, is it? It's just take Shaw's goals out of City; they're no different to where they are now.
City midfield done this season.
She's carried it when they've had so many. There's only been Hasegawa left. I can't believe
we've got a bit of a tie going on here. So there's 17 people, 18 people watching this live currently as it stands. It's time for you to start getting in the chat. I don't want a big old conversation. Just give us your name. Are you going Shaw or Hasegawa? Which one would you go for? Help us to get a little bit of a feel as to what you guys are saying. I would ask Connor to do something on a YouTube poll, but I'm not convinced he can do it on the Wofo one just yet. But yeah, who would it be? Shaw or Hasegawa? Just write it. Literally, just Shaw for Shaw, Hasegawa for. You can put Yui if you're feeling lazy. I don't mind. Not a problem. But yeah, give us an idea so that we can try and get some sort of separation here. Because one or two things are going to happen here. I'm either going to sit here and just keep going with Sean because it's quite entertaining, or I'm just going to sack Bunny Shaw down there and stick Hasegawa in. So those are the two options. So got to get some people in to help us because we're already an hour and 17 minutes into it.
Hasegawa's in like the top 10 in almost every stat you want a midfielder to be in, whether that's interceptions or touches or through balls or progressive passes or take-ons or tackles or any fucking stat. She is in the top 10.
You just said 10 minutes ago, or maybe we're reading too much into stats. And then
goals
all of a sudden you just go with that.
Goals and assists.
It can't just work for you when you want it to work for you. It's got to be one or the other.
Pulling out the stats all day about who Alessia Russo scored against.
It's not stats, that's just proof.
Hypocrite.
Come on, guys. Only the stats that actually back your answer. No, I've got one for Hasegawa so far.
I'm also doing a poll on my personal Twitter just to really
here she goes.
Get this going. It's getting personal.
Now they're coming in. We've got two Shaws.
Yes. Of course we have.
Well, hang on a minute. You can't do this, do you? You can't go Hasegawa my vote. Sure. Like, which one is it? That's outrageous. That's terrible. DJ, I'm not having that. You need to give me a proper one. There we go. Hasegawa, good.
Hasegawa fan, not the votes. He's just a fan of Hasegawa. We're all fans of Hasegawa, really. But Shaw's just edged it
Shaw
there.
from NF.
No, wrong answer. Okay, it's a disgrace.
Survivor's gone Yui. That's a Hasegawa. DJ's gone Hasegawa 3 times now. So there we go. At the moment, Hasegawa's 3-1 up.
She's also winning me as poll as well.
Well,
I'll be honest with you, it's not looking good.
Well, there's 2 votes, and I'm assuming that's me and Mia.
Connor, can you vote on your private account as well, please?
I don't think we can count your poll if the only people voting in your poll are you and Connor.
On every account we've ever made.
Barry, what you could say is that the desperate plea here is just a sign that, you know what, he's right, but we're too stubborn to say we're wrong. So they're trying to get a public outcry for me because they know I'm right.
No,
This
we
is the
just
thing.
this is a democracy. This is a democracy. We're getting a vote.
I'm very democratic. I've asked the people that are watching, and the people that are watching, bless them. Some of them are responding. Some of them are
What
not.
about you then, Barry? Who do you go with?
I thought I'd already told you what I wanted to do.
Barry wants to keep the team as it is.
As it looks right now, I am perfectly.
I wouldn't be against keeping the team as it is.
I agree.
So we're 2-2 then.
This is. Do you remember on Monday when I said to you, Sean, it'd be really helpful if we had 5 people. This is why.
6 votes.
This is what happens.
6.
That's more than what we've got going here right now. Actually, no, we're going to add them on. That very clearly. Actually, and also my spell check really shot me in the foot there because I've put Yuri Hasegawa instead of Yuri.
Has anybody
name
voted?
right? You know what?
Anybody voted for sure on your one yet?
Yes. I did.
So, yeah, Sean.
Well, I've got to be honest. As it stands, 3 people have gone Hasegawa in the chat. Only one has said Bunny Shaw. And
Public ever right anyway, though.
That's a good point.
I voted for a dog to win Britain's Got Talent twice. You know what I mean? Like, that is insane.
We've had it out there that way for quite a while.
I'm really happy now because barring one player, that is the exact. I've got 10 out of 11 there in the players that I wanted.
Well,
now, I've got to be honest with you, Connor. I thought you knew me better than this. But to be sitting regularly, I'm really happy now because I got 10 out of 11. Doesn't make me want to do this. It now makes me want to do it.
I never changed anything when I was hosting these things, so you can't be doing it to me. I'm quite happy not being the host.
I think you're fine.
One final thing here. I've lost 4 players, and you've all seemed to get the ones you want. Why can't you give me something? Just
Who do you want?
He does have a footballing opinion, and you know what? He does deserve one of them in there. So why can't I? Like, you've all got. Mia's got a say. You've got Hasegawa. Barry's got all the United. Where's me? Where's our?
Who do you want, Sean?
So you have Ford. All right, let's have that chat. You put Caitlin Ford in at left mid. I think if there's anywhere where somebody could get changed, that is a potential. But just double checking it. We've got it's just Russo and Caldente as it stands. So you could have a third Arsenal one if you wanted to. So make your plea. How are you going to get Caitlin Ford in above the goal and assist machine that is Viviana Sayi?
I'm going to do another poll if he starts to do I will do another poll.
If Ford goes in this team, when you tweet it, do not tag me.
I want you to retweet it, please, actually.
I mean, who's the Ford?
These players play left mid. No, there's not, I'm afraid, on this one, Emily.
Let's put it this way. That defence and goalkeeper is perfect. I don't think that we have any arguments. I don't think there needs to be no change there. That's fine. So it's just about...
Well, you said you've lost 4, and I think we can all agree now that the Bunny Shaw experiment has died its death. We're just going to have to get over that one. Who are your other 3 that you're crying about over here? That...
Well, one was home guard at left back. That's fine. I was flipping between her and Baltimore to begin with. So fine.
Okay.
Katrina Gori is one, which I understand will probably not have because we've argued about Hasegawa. Fine. Benny Shaw should rightfully be there, but fine. Public vote, whatever. So I'm left with no option but to argue. And I did not think I'd be arguing for this Arsenal player. I think Caitlin Ford has to go in then.
This is why I said it. That was the only one you could get because you'll remember I sat here and said to you, how do you feel about us taking Bunny Shaw out and putting Katrina Gori in?
I go back to Mia's point about Russo.
Shot yourself in the foot again.
No, I'll go back to Mia's argument about Russo saying it's the things you don't see, it's the stats. And that's what you see with Caitlin Ford, because often Caitlin Ford has taken on anyone down there. Even Jade Riviere struggled against Caitlin Ford. And if we're saying, I mean, Lucy Bronze was appalling against Caitlin Ford twice. So Caitlin Ford has taken on some of the best right backs in this league and made them look amateurish.
Yeah, make it happen. Is it going to be a Say or Ford? We'll give you a couple of minutes again in the chat. You were very helpful. Who's it going to be? A Say?
Say has been good, but I think Ford does not get the appreciation that she deserves, especially this season, because I do think she's jumped to a completely different level that a lot of us maybe didn't know she had.
Asay has been outstanding for West Ham, and she sits so high up on those. And I know we're not talking about. Well, I am talking about stats because I don't think I've seen a men's West Ham team player put 9 goals away in a season. Like this is unheard of statistics. And as I said before, if she played in Arsenal, we'd all know her name. We'd all know what she can do.
One all immediately mocks him in with Ford, and then in comes DJ with a Say. But to be fair, in a second he's going to say Ford, and then confuse us all from. Oh, no, only one vote. Thank you, DJ. Appreciate that. So not helpful so far. It's 1-1.
There's a reason on every single WSL TikTok or journalistic thing, team of the season, you have not seen Caitlin Ford. She should not be near this team. Because I'm just you talk about the numbers and everything else. If you want to go off that old thing that you've been saying throughout the show, she scored 6 in the WSL. 2 of them were against Brighton, which obviously a lot of teams score against Brighton, so that's nothing impressive. Then you've got 2 against Leicester, who conceded probably one of the most in the league this season. I don't. To be honest, there's more shouts for other Arsenal players.
Do you know who else has scored 2 against Leicester? Do you know who else? Vivian Asay.
But your argument about what Mia just said, I think about it being West Ham and Arsenal. Asay's got the most joint most return and goals and assists combined in a West Ham team that don't score. So
she often scores absolute belters. Like she does not score a normal goal. She is insane, like technically insane.
If you want to make me sad and cry on this fine Wednesday evening, that is up to you. And you can all go to bed in the knowledge, we weren't very nice to her. And you might go to bed thinking, we were wrong. But fine, if you don't want to give me anyone, that is fine. I've been very generous here with allowing you to have whoever you'd like. But fine, if you're not willing to give me anyone, then so be it.
Your choices are rubbish.
It needs to be, in all negotiations, there needs to be give and take. I've given a lot and I've not been taking anything.
Hey, you had your back 5.
Huh?
You got the back 5 that you wanted.
Correct.
That's half the team.
We all wanted that. Didn't even want Baltimore into the
Remember those heady days where we were all sitting there going, it's too easy so far.
I'm going to be stubborn on this one and just not. I don't know how you can.
Stubborn all night.
I think what we have is what we're going to finish in. Unfortunately, I am going to ask all of you 3, to send over your team to me so that I can whop that up into a little graphic and throw that out there. So you will still be represented and people can choose which WSL team of the season they prefer out of the 4 of us. We've done that many times before, so you will get heard, Sean. And obviously, if the mainstream media and the public decide that you spot on all of your choices, then they will say so, and you will be vindicated. But when we put this side out, I will absolutely ask the question as to whether or not Caitlin Ford or Bunny Shaw should have taken the place of Asai and Russo, or even Hasegawa and playing the 4-2-2-2. So that will absolutely be there. But I think, ladies and gents, I think that's it. We've got Fallon in goal, Sandy Baltimore, Natalie Bjorn, May Letitia, Jay Riviere, Yui Hasegawa with a late comeback, Erin Cuthbert, Mariona Caldente, lost my teeth there for a minute, just there in the 10. Viviana Sayi, miraculously, West Ham player getting into the final 11. Olivia Smith on the right, and Alessia Russo Shaw on the in the number 9 spot. So there we go. That's it. We're done. It's sorted. Apart from Sean, are we all happy with that?
I'm happy for Mia more than anything because Mia's been on these ones for the last 3 years and never got a single player that she wanted it. Sure, you need to come back for another 2 more years and then maybe you'll put it in.
Every time. I remember last Christmas before last, and I put Millie Turner in, and no, I literally would not back down. Sean, listen, I know how you're feeling, but I feel fantastic. I feel like I've won actually today, and I've only had one player.
Oh, I'm delighted. Oh no, my heart's full of joy for you. Yeah.
Now this is the thing.
You see next week.
I did say to you, Sean. I did say we need a 5th person because they're the person that breaks the deadlock. But the drama I think you've got here is that I'm not convinced anybody would have brought on this show would have picked Caitlin Ford or Bunny Shaw. I'm just not convinced it would have happened. But we were nearly there. Listen, I gave you the best I could. I gave you the platform to have it out there, but unfortunately, the people in the chat spoke. I say unfortunately, be heard. That's what it's all about. They've made their decision and they've decided you're wrong, Sean. I'm sorry. That's how the world works. But you should be used to being in the minority. You are a Brighton.
But it's quite unbelievable when you see things like this. It's quite unbelievable to see how many people just are wrong. It's quite unbelievable. But there we go. So be it. So be it.
Got to love your self-confidence. Absolutely. So yeah, Mia, happy?
Thrilled.
Connor, happy?
I think it's a good team. I don't know what everyone's moaning about.
You got 10 out of the 11, you said. Which one didn't make it for you?
It was just a say. I went for Mary Fowler, but to be fair, as soon as Mia said about a say, I was like, yeah. So, yeah, that's basically player.
And I think, seriously, that's been the big thing about this team of the season this year, is that actually some positions haven't had the standout players, and because they haven't had the standout players, it's been a bit easier to sit and make the conversation and to just go, you know what, actually, yeah, I can see that, which is interesting, I think, because ordinarily there have been a lot more arguments, and also incredible that Kira Walsh absolutely nowhere near it this time, considering all of the big chat that there was years before of her going away abroad and then coming back. So, yeah, very interesting. Very good. Well done. Sean, I apologise that you have been subjected to what all newcomers have, but all I can tell you is that I've had my fair share of arguments with Connor and co when we've tried to do these shows before. And it's not simple. It's not easy. But, yeah, there we go. Unlucky.
But, reflecting on it, and, you are 3 United fans, Man United / West Ham United for me, fine. Yes. I just can't believe 3 Man United fans happily fought over Alessia Russo's inclusion. Quite unbelievable, really, if you think about it.
That's exactly.
So I must be right again. But
I feel like that should tell you, if 2 people that are Man United fans have happily put Alessia Russo in there over Bunny Shaw, that should probably give you an indication.
Maybe what we've done tonight, we've built a bridge over troubled waters. Maybe this could be hand in hand over the bridge. The truce is over. We forgive her. Maybe this is United fans forgiving Russo. Maybe this is it.
Well, as you can see, Sean's lost the argument, so he's going in for barbs now, which is absolutely fine. Just didn't realise you had this in you, to be honest with you, Sean. I've always seen you as quite a nice bloke, but at the moment I'm just feeling like little stabbing pains. Who knows? But anyway, listen, I've really enjoyed it this evening. It's been really good to have you on, Sean. Thank you for coming back again. And all I will add to all of this is that you asked to be here. So don't be having to go at me for the fact that you haven't got what you wanted. You wanted to be here. You're here. And that was that, I'm afraid, unfortunately. But Mia, a pleasure to have you back on as well. Where could people see you? We don't see you here every week now, but Obviously, it'd be nice to have you back on again, but what are you doing? What's happening in the world of Mia?
Oh, not a lot really. I'm still knocking about on Twitter every now and then. I think my account is _ Mia Claydon. But yeah, I just tweet about Italian stuff. So if that's up your alley, then you know where I am.
Or Italy, you'd assume, if it's up an alley. They're not that long. So might well be there. But very interesting. And just very briefly on that, we're happy with the way it all turned out. Juventus winning it this year.
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty much, there was a few close calls, but it was pretty much wrapped up by December. But next year, we lose the split. We lose the pools. So it's going to be a much better setup. So next year is the one to look out for if you're interested in.
Will that just go to the person at the top wins, or is it going to go like the French model where there's a little playoff at the end?
No, just a normal, standard English football recognisable league.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would be interesting to see. Fair play. Right, there we go. But that's where you can find me at Italy and Ali's, apparently. So there we go. Probably wasn't really where I wanted to go with that, but swiftly moving on. Connor, where can people find you?
Well, not down alleyways. I try and avoid them where I can. Yeah, All For WSC is probably where I'm most recognised, and also on the cutback as well, where focusing more on some. I don't know whether I'm allowed to say this or not. There'll be some stuff coming out on the cutback over the next few weeks. Just leave it there.
Lovely stuff. And of course, Sean, where can people find you other than crying into your pint?
Yeah. On the cutback as well. First piece went out on the cutback doing some stuff for Wales for the Euros, so that should be exciting as well as the Club Bull Ride. A lot of stuff coming out over this international break. TikTok, Twitter, and then hopefully we'll see everyone when England fails to get out of the group at the Euros.
Beautiful.
That means Sean can agree on.
Wow. Excellent. There we go. Well, thank you lot. Thank you for coming along and watching. If you've watched this back, hope you agreed. Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, do all the usual stuff. We will be back. But when? Probably Monday. Who knows? We'll work it out. And when we know, we'll let you know. And you can find us out on Twitter. So until then, have a good evening. Take care.